Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, we're going to be hopping in the combine cab with my brother Joel to shell some corn. And it just happens to be our final day of corn and soybean harvest 2025. He ain't messing around today. We're gonna finish up this field shortly after noon today. Got a full one.
Yeah, and some.
Do you wait for Jake or do you continue
No, I
on?
just keep going. I mean, once he'll get ahead of, I'll get ahead of him probably.
All right, here we go. We're up in the cab. Not as dusty as beans, that's for sure. What's the yields been looking like?
All over the place, depending on the fields. 125 to 175, I'd say.
Okay. No 200s?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
on
every
this
now
field.
and then?
Yeah, I've seen a few too in the valleys there where some moisture's sitting and made it through the drought. Probably higher organic matter. What was I talking to Mitch? He was saying the CEC, cation exchange.
Oh, yeah.
Has to do with the, I don't know what they call it, the molecular level, but just on the particulates per unit. Like it's a higher particulate count of soil matter.
Right.
So it has basically more surface area per volume, more water holding capacity, basically.
Okay.
And that probably has something to do with organic matter also.
You guys didn't know you were getting a chemistry lesson today, did you?
A little bit, I know.
So for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time and wondering why our yields are so low, we have been in serious drought conditions for the past 2 months. Yes, we got about an inch of rain 2 weeks ago, but you know the damage was done. So normally our yields are between 160 to 200,
Yeah,
I'd say.
that's pretty good.
And the average is definitely down this year.
We had a pretty wet spring too, so certain fields that didn't have good drainage, like the one you replanted over by Uncle Joe's, that one was terrible.
Oh, a buck. Hey guys, look at that, a buck. Probably a nice 8-pointer.
Yeah, nice 2-year-old probably.
Yep.
But yeah, so a lot of the seeds just died in the soil.
Yeah.
And we replanted some of it. It was just so wet.
Yeah.
So that hurt the yields too, and it's hard to replanting corn. It's kind of tough, and it's a pain to,
because it was already up.
Yeah,
Man, 10 or 12 inches by the time I went in there and replanted some, you know, and it was a little too late.
And that stuff that you did replant, the yields were like pretty bad. I don't know, it just didn't have the nutrients there, or nutrients already gone. And, yeah, they're pretty small.
So that thick area of corn that we just went through where that buck ran out, I saw it pop up to 220 bushel an acre. So this is really thick right here.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. There's definitely some areas that are good.
Yeah, this is pretty nice looking corn here. That big old buck was sitting right here, eating some corn. Joel, do you know what variety this is?
It might be in the computer here. I don't know off the top of my head. It's a 110 day or 111 day. I know that much.
Okay.
It didn't transfer from the planter to the combine. I'll find out in a moment.
Harvesting right beside a train track, and at the other end of the field over there is the Logan County Jail. So this is actually property that belongs to the city.
Yeah.
Or is it the county? It'd be the city, right?
I think county commissioners. Yeah, county.
Okay. So we don't own this field. This is a field we have to bid on. And how many years do we get it? We don't have to bid every year, right?
Every 3 years.
3, okay.
B10A20.
B0,
B10A20.
B10A20 is the variety. But we don't know who makes that variety. It slipped our mind. but that's the number. So I know we're going to get a lot of questions about why do we use this little 6-row head? Why don't we have an 8 or a 12?
Well, cost. One thing is nice. We don't have to fold this thing. We don't put it on a cart. It can go down the road. That's one big benefit. And we're done. It takes a week for us to harvest corn.
Yeah, we only got 400 acres of corn, and like Joel said, having a 6-row head, we don't have to disconnect it to travel from field to field. Put it on a header cart. We can just drive right down the road. So that's probably the biggest benefit right there.
And if we scaled up, we would have to have a grain cart and more truck drivers. We'd probably have
I bet you could get by
semis.
without a grain cart with an 8-row head.
Maybe.
You just have to have 2 trucks running.
Yeah, we'd have to do that.
We're getting by with 1 truck.
2 trucks,
well, 2 trucks, 1 driver. The second truck is sitting over there right now. Jake just took the full one that we filled up a little bit ago, and now this one's here ready for us to fill. And even though we're 6 miles down the road from our farm, Jake will be unloaded and on his way back before we have that truck full. It's almost dead even. So it works out just having 1 driver.
So if we want to scale up to a bigger head, we have to scale up everything. And I haven't ran the numbers and economics of does it make sense? Would it save? It would save wear and tear on the combine because we would put less hours on the combine by a little bit.
Right.
But I just go faster. Instead of going 4 miles an hour, I'd go 5.5.
Okay.
Almost 6. I don't know. Maybe too fast.
So we use a 12-row Kinsey planter. Is that a 3600, 3400? I always forget.
3600.
Okay. So because we have a 12-row planter, we need to either have a 6-row or 12-row header. Now that we have GPS and auto steering, I think we probably could.
We could
use an 8-row head.
Yeah, and still line things up.
Yeah. We're just finishing off this little corner here, going back and forth, and then we'll get back into these long rows down here. Good thing we're finishing things up today because tomorrow they're calling for 30 to 40 mile an hour winds and rain, big old cold front coming through. So perfect time to get our harvest finished up. And I'm sure Joel's glad it's about over.
Yeah.
15-hour days for how many days straight?
Every day except Sunday for the past 3 weeks.
Woo!
Burn. I stopped last night at 4 o'clock. And,
wow.
To swap things over, and it was like I had a church event thing I decided to go to, and I knew we'd be able to finish up today. So I got home at 9 o'clock, fell asleep. All my clothes on and everything. Just laid down to watch a documentary or movie and didn't make it 5 minutes.
Wow.
Looking forward to being done.
Yep. And if you haven't seen my latest video, I'll put a link down below. We just finished up our vegetable harvest last week. That video just came out, so check that one out if you want to see our final day of vegetable harvest on our farm. So glad that's all done too. You can see this waterway right here. We're opening it up right along the waterway. We have a lot of waterways on our farm. That's what we call them here.
The reason why we planted around it, usually just drive right through it.
Right.
And then drop the planter on each side and then lift it up and we'll drive through it. And these were just put in this spring, so we didn't want to damage the freshly planted grass.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But we live in the highest point in Ohio. There's a lot of rocky hills around here. Nothing like out in Pennsylvania where I just was a couple days ago. But we have to have these waterways or we just get huge washouts and gullies whenever it rains really hard. Now this field's relatively flat, but back on the home farm, we have lots of rolling rocky hills.
I got stuck here about 4 years ago crossing this waterway with the planter.
Wow. So Joel was just sharing an interesting piece of information about how much our corn is worth. And I thought it was pretty interesting and wanted to share it with you. So if we use our numbers, average round numbers of 175 bushel an acre at $4 a bushel corn, planting our corn at 34,000 seeds per acre, and let's just say we're harvesting about 30,000 plants per acre.
Not all of them grow.
Because not every one of them's going to grow. If you break those numbers down, calculate that out, each ear of corn is only worth 2 to 3 cents each. An average of 2.3 cents. Not even 3 pennies for a freaking ear of corn. Can you believe that? That's why these smaller growers are selling it all as squirrel corn.
Oh, yeah.
Bagging up ears of corn to sell as squirrel corn or bags of shelled corn. So Broyans, that I just came back from visiting in Pennsylvania, they harvest 75 acres. I can't remember how much it is. Fills up one of their bins. Maybe it's only 25 or 50 acres. I forget. Fills up one of their green bins about the size of one of our small ones, and they retail every kernel in bags out of their market for $10 a bushel.
Jeez.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Some more corn. You got any plans after harvest to travel? Do anything fun with your wife and kids?
Fun.
Fun? You're like, what is fun?
Gotta get garlic ready.
Oh yeah, it's time to plant garlic. Holy moly!
I gotta first gotta rip all the garlic individual bulbs or rip
cloves. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, rip the bulb apart into individual cloves, and then I'll get the plastic laid for that. Get the soil all ready and get that planted here early November, maybe even late October, depending on the weather. And hopefully I can get a bunch of kids to help.
Yeah.
I'm getting too old, bending my back over, back breaking work.
You're probably going to have a few days break before you got to jump right in right away.
I need to take a break. Might go, I don't know, enjoy that. This is the first time in years since I've been married, probably. Gonna enjoy fall a little bit. Maybe go on a camping trip or something.
There you go.
I'm in need of bad.
Yeah, that was kind of the way I felt 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to do my Pennsylvania backpacking trip for months. Oh, it was glorious.
Yeah, maybe up to father-in-law's. My in-laws have a cabin they're building up in Michigan right now.
Up in Sheboygan.
Sheboygan, yeah.
Way up in northeast.
Maybe go up there. I don't know if the leaves. I assume the leaves have started changing.
Yeah, they're still. When I was out in eastern Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania, I would say they were just getting into full color when I was coming home. I would say right now they're in full color in Pennsylvania. So it's still pretty green around here. So our color's just starting here. There goes Jake hauling our full truck back to the farm. And right over here is our county jail. And they have a nice garden, nice vegetable garden right there. With a couple, I thought those were high tunnels, but they have turkeys in there, I think. No, those are high tunnels, like little greenhouses. There are turkeys back there in another pen. It looks like they just worked up their garden, got it all ready for next year, and they're still harvesting a few things right there. About 8 or 9 years ago, I actually laid all the plastic for them over there. I think I went through about 1 roll. So it's nice that they're growing food for their inmates there. All right, I just hopped out, getting ready to go home and grab some lunch. As soon as I finish up lunch, I'll take you down to where we're unloading our corn in the grain bins and show you that part of the operation as well. All right, let's see how full she's getting. Woo, windy up here. Yeah, she's full. We should be able to fit that truck no problem, and maybe one more. I'll just have to keep an eye on it. We'll get it all the way filled up, and then we're gonna move our blue auger over to this bin. We just took 1,000 bushels out of there so we can get 2 more trucks in that bin, and then we'll be completely filled up. And Joel will still have about 10 acres left, 5 or 10 acres. So after we fill up all the bins, we're going to top off all the trucks and 2 grain wagons. And we should be able to hold everything. As you can see, we still have corn here. So actually we aren't quite done. We got a 20-acre field here that we're gonna have to do next week after we get a couple thousand bushels unloaded out of here. So there's my dad. He likes to drive around and see what's going on. And this fellow right here unloading the corn is Mike. He worked for us for like 25 years when I was growing up, when we were running the dairy farm. So he's retired. He comes back and helps us when we need an extra hand. All right, we're gonna get this wagon hooked up to the grain truck. That way, if we run out of room on the grain trucks, Joel will have some extra room in these wagons. Mike said he can't see anything out of those mirrors. Oh, need a little bit further. 6 more inches. Yep. Okay, back on up. Let me see if I can find you a cotter pin. Hang on. Oh, the door. Hey, Mike. We gotta shut these doors. That wouldn't be good. I could have called Joel and told him, but better just do it now. All right, there he goes. All right, now that Mike's on the road, heading back over to get another load, I probably got about 15 or 20 minutes so I can get back to power washing my Oxbow BH100 bean harvester. So I currently have the shroud off, kind of the cover that goes over the picking reel. This is what the picking fingers look like on this 1-row harvester. You know, I got a couple that need replaced. That one's got bent up pretty good by a rock. This is probably getting close to needing replaced. It almost looks like a giant bristle broom, but I think we can get another season out of it. I finally replaced my belt. I just replaced the original belt this spring since 2011. I got 14 years out of that first belt, and it hadn't broke yet. Everything is original in here. I have not replaced anything. You know, it's only a matter of time before these belts wear out. There's like a steel teeth where they connect. I'll have to turn it around and show you, but eventually those will probably go bad and these belts will go bad. But man, it seemed like they're in pretty good shape for being 14 years old. It's incredible. Let's take a look underneath this guard here. You know, I'll lube all the chains up. I haven't ever replaced the gear oil in this gearbox or this one here. So I'll probably do that in the spring and lube up the chains and grease it. So today we're just power washing it. I've already done the belt, so I just hold the stream really close and wait for a revolution to go around, and I keep moving it over. So I clean that off really good. We'll get all this filth out of here and just kind of go over the whole thing quickly. And the platform, I'll spray all this junk off the platform. So it really doesn't take that long. The more important thing than keeping it cosmetically clean is keeping everything greased. So normally I'll grease everything in the fall, but I think for this year I'm just going to make a mental note, or I'll write it down on my bean planting sheets to remember to grease everything next spring before the season starts. So just want to get it all washed today and unhooked and backed up in the barn. I've already power washed the entire reel. It's definitely stained pretty good after 14 years of use, but still works great. All right, got the bean picker put in the barn for the winter. Yesterday I winterized my high pressure insecticide and fungicide sprayer, and I put away my little John Deere 6-foot bush hog because I'm finished with that for the season. I'll be putting my herbicide sprayer right here. I still have a few more acres to spray next week. And then in a few weeks I'll be getting out our chisel plow to work up 5 or 10 acres for next year's raised beds with mulch and drip tape. But right now I'm getting ready to go to the top of the grain bin because Mike's coming back with another load and it's almost full. So I need to be up there and watch it as it fills up. And there's a little, we call it a whirly digger, a little spinner. There's a spinner up there that distributes the corn evenly around the bin. We have turned that off, and I will go up there and manually turn it to wherever there's the most room in the bin to hold that next load. And then we're gonna move the auger over to another bin that has room for another 1,000 bushels, and then that should just about hold everything. So I'm gonna head up there now and get ready for Mike, who should be pulling in here any minute. There he is. Let's head up here and see how much room we got. I mean, we only got about 6 inches of space there, so we'll have to watch the corn doesn't get too full and spill out the top of this, or leak out the edge of the cap of the bin. Let's go peek down inside up here, see if we can see any low spots that we can really dump extra grain into. Hard to see in there. I know you guys can't see in there, but I can tell. I think we can fit this one. All right, there is not as much room up there as I thought. This is the emptiest spot right here. So I turned the little spinner facing the man door, and it will not hold the whole truck, no way. So as soon as I start seeing the corn come this way and get up to here, I will shut them off. Getting breezy out here. All right, she's full. Let's move that auger right over there. All right, we just got her moved over to this other Brock bin, and I still don't know if I'm quite centered up. I'm gonna have to go up and watch it when we start running corn through it to see if it's centered good enough. All right, we're back in business. I had to put the camera down to get this auger set straight. I must have had to move it 4 times because I was having trouble getting it lined up perfectly centered. I think we got her now though. Up here on top of the grain bin, looking out over our farm. These are the original 3 bins. They're all full of beans right now. And then the one I'm on is corn, corn, corn. And then the one in the back over there is Joel's. It's full of beans right now. Nope, it's got corn in it too. Whew, it's windy up here. We got a cold front moving in. It's supposed to be dropping like 20 degrees, maybe 30 degrees tomorrow, and rainy and 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So I'm glad we're getting all this corn done today. All right, let's get this lid put on. All right, secured. Alrighty folks, that is a wrap on corn harvest for today. We just have this 25-acre field left that we're gonna have to tackle next week because our grain bins are full. So I'm gonna head home and finish watching the Ohio State University Buckeye football game. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. And I will see you all again next time, down on the farm.